Since you never claimed your property, the government assumes the ownership. Assumes the ownership doesn't mean that they're the owners, but they assume that they have a security interest because it was given to them so that they can use it. What the government do with your names? We know that as of 1933, we lost our financial freedom to the international bankers, and basically we were out of gold and silver. So the international bankers, they put us in a bankruptcy. Of course, you can have a copy of that in the book so that it shows that we went to bankruptcy. When I say we, it's the United States government. And since we lost the gold and the silver, then basically we accepted the Federal Reserve as U.S. money, and we start paying interest on private currency, which it doesn't belong to us. What is a Federal Reserve note? It's a promise to pay. What it promised to pay from the international bankers? It's promise to pay, promise to pay. So basically they don't promise to pay nothing. They just promise to pay a promise to pay. So if you give a Federal Reserve note back to the bank for redemption, they'll give you another promissory note. So that's the whole system. We have to find out what is the bottom line if the whole system is based on promissory notes. So we should really understand these codes and use it to our benefit. This book, as I said, it doesn't talk about going against the codes, going against the law. It talks about using the codes, understanding it, and you don't violate any codes. However, if you understand it, then you will be able to play the game of commerce. It's very important. Since we have no choice in this life, when we're living, we have to survive. In order to survive, you have to work. In order to work, the only mean of currency that is given to us, it's private promissory note from Federal Reserve. And we are accepting that for exchange our labors. So basically, if the banks, they're giving us their promissory note, and this is the U.S. currency, and every single dollar, U.S. dollar in our account, it's a promissory note, then let's find out what we can do with this promissory note and how we can play the game. A game is a game, a tennis game. If you don't know how to play tennis, you shouldn't participate in the game. You cannot go, and the court system is the same way, it's a game. You cannot go and say that I would like to participate in tennis, and you have a referee, which is the judge, and the other party, he knows all the rules. Maybe it's McEnroe is going to, play with you, and you start playing. You don't know how to start. You don't know the terms or the rules of the game, and in 5 minutes, the referee is going to say, game is over. You lose, you win. And you look and says, I don't understand this game. Well, it doesn't matter. You lost. So in life, it's the same way. If you don't know how to play this commerce game, you're going to lose your property. You're going to lose your car. You're going to lose your... I'm not saying that everybody's going to lose, but it's just a matter of numbers. If you have 100 people in the United States and there is only $100 given from the Federal Reserve, you have only $100 in circulation. Now, the Federal Reserve would require an interest on their private money. So if they give you $100 for 100 people, and those 100 people, they're going to do business together. However, at the end of the year, there is $105 to pay back to the Federal Reserve. Well, if there is only $100 in circulation, how are you going to pay $105? You can't do that. So someone out of the 10, it's going to be short $5. And that person will lose either his car, either his house, will lose something that he owns. And of course, if you multiply that by billions of dollars and trillions of dollars, every time that you borrow funds, you create more debt in the system. So when they talk about getting rid of the national debt, that is not going to happen as long as we borrow our own money. So that's not going to happen. Now, statistically, today, we pay probably, including the all the corporate taxes, debts, U.S. debts, private debts, I would say about $32 trillion, probably it's going to be our production of the national production, and probably 70% of that it's going to be paid for interest and debts. So what's happening, we're creating more debt and more debt and more debt every single year, every single day. So forget about getting rid of the debts. However, if you know what you're doing in commerce, you will be able to overcome all these problems, especially financial problems, by not violating any law. I'm going to have to say this 10,000 times because some people, they get involved in our conference call and they say that, well, I heard some people, they went to jail because they read this book. Well, that's not true. 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, we had a lady coming in. I don't know where she was coming. I mean, I had a pretty understanding where she was coming from. But luckily, there are a lot of people jumped in the line, and basically they said that, well, they had a lot of successes with this book, and all those people that they're in trouble, basically, they're in trouble not because of the book, it's because they've done some other things, creative things that the book doesn't talk about it. The problem with this process, the reason why we have this meeting, I want to make sure that whoever is here, when you leave today, you will have an understanding and you will feel so strong about what you're doing that you don't have to bother with anyone coming after you because you're using the law. You're using the codes. It's very important. Okay, those people, by the way, that they're in trouble, yes, they probably bought the book, but unfortunately they added some stuff because they go to so many seminars and they start picking up a little bit information from here, a little bit from there, and a little bit from the book, and they combine them and they call it redemption process. There is no such a thing as redemption process. This is like, it's a name, it's given to this process, but it's not specifically for this book. Everybody calls it redemption process. Now, the main people that they go in trouble with the law are those who has a misunderstanding of this process. This is not a tool to go after someone and damage them. This is not the intention of the book at all. This book doesn't talk about going and get even with someone that is coming after you or you are in a battle with someone. This book, it doesn't talk about how to take advantage of the system and just go and damage someone. This is not all about. This book only makes you aware of all the codes, and you don't want to have, you want to have a peaceful life. You don't want, isn't that basically the bottom line? We want to be left alone from these people that they're coming after us, right? If we're not criminals, we haven't committed a crime, we haven't damaged someone, so basically we don't want to be subject to any violations of codes. We want the IRS agent to leave us alone. We want the banker to leave us alone. We want these attorneys to leave us alone. We want the court system to leave us alone. The bottom line is this: you cannot be forced to do business with someone unless you agree upon. So, I don't want to do business with a cop. I don't want to do business with a judge. I don't want to do business with an IRS agent. So leave me alone. I don't want to damage you. Leave me alone. And this is the main problem that we have. Now, because he's an IRS agent, I'm not going to go after him because he is in a profession that he might be damaging some other people. That's not my concern. If he's going to come after me, I want to protect myself. So this book, it's all about protecting yourself legally by using the commercial codes. Okay? So I want to make sure that everybody understands, for a change, we have something over here that it's not against the system. It teaches you the system and the codes so that you can use it to your advantage. Okay. I'm going to have Jordan Maxwell. Jordan? Okay. I'm going to have Jordan Maxwell to talk about a little bit about these codes, what it means in our life. Some of the codes, there are terms that we don't understand. There are words, hidden words, that we see it every day, but we have no idea what kind of game it's being played behind the curtain. So Jordan Maxwell is going to give us overview of occult and hidden meanings of words, especially in commerce. Okay, so I will invite Jordan Maxwell. He's got 42 years of experience in this type of subject, occults, words, symbols, and emblems, astrotheology, ancient religions, which is basically, it's the problem that we have all this system set up, and he will explain you that. Thank you.